My name is Jim Staniszewski. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm with All Control. This is the second of our All Control and SICK information sessions. Today we have SICK Safety Application Specialist Russ Nicodem. He's going to be discussing SICK's go-to light curtain offering, specifically the DTEC and DTEM4 series of light curtains from SICK, and some of their abilities to solve some different complex safeguarding applications on all different.
He's introducing him.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with SICK or who didn't join our first session, SICK is a manufacturer specializing in sensor intelligence. That includes safety, product detection, automatic identification, and other sensor technologies used in all different kind of manufacturing industries throughout the world. All Control is the local technical resource and distributor for SICK.
Oh, my friend Jim is
SICK for 30 plus years. We have a group of salespeople and application engineers locally in Illinois, Wisconsin, Northwest Indiana, and we can assist with any and all automation applications. At least in Illinois, where I'm sitting right now, restrictions have started to loosen up recently. But still, in-person visits are probably a little limited. So we thought that these information sessions would be a good way to continue to connect with our customers. Keep in mind, yeah, we're not pro webcammers. These are informal sessions, so feel free to pop in with questions, comments, chat them in, whatever you like. In June, we're focusing on safety application solutions. We have another session scheduled, I believe, for next week. And we'll be discussing safety area scanners as well. So definitely get signed up for that one, as there are some pretty new and interesting products there. So now I'll introduce Russ Nicodem, and he'll explain some new and easy methods to use SICK light curtains to safeguard and optimize your machines.
Thanks, Jim. My name is Russ Nicodem. I'm the application engineer with SICK. I reside in Appleton, Wisconsin. So I'm here to be a technical resource and help you with any of your safety needs. I support the Wisconsin and Illinois areas. One thing to note is that we are open for business as they lift the restrictions. If you have application needs, I'm ready, willing to travel and to come visit if you're comfortable with it. We do have all the appropriate PPE, and we have the sanitization processes in place. So if you do have applications where you need face-to-face, we are open for business and ready to go when you are. So with that, we want to talk a little bit about the newest light curtains on the market from SICK. We're going to start with the point of operation light curtains, which are finger and hand detection. And then we're going to end with body detection or perimeter guarding. So with that, we'll get started. The format's going to be relatively informal, typically a couple of slides, a couple of videos, and then we'll do some live demonstrations at the end. Come on. So the new light curtain from SICK is called the DTEC4. The DE stands for detection, TE stands for technology, and 4 stands for category 4, which is the older way of a safety category. We still use that. We have DTEC2 and DTEC4. In the United States, we always focus on the category 4 light curtain, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Couple of the highlights. This is a safety light curtain, of course, but some of the highlights of the new design is that we've got Industry 4.0 at the forefront. We have built into the light curtains with no additional controllers needed or anything. We have IO Link. Why would you want IO Link? IO Link could be used like in this application on the screen, where you have a pallet coming through on a depalletizer. If your load is leaning forward or leaning backwards, you'll be able to tell first beam blocked, last beam blocked, or the overall height of a pallet. So you know if you've got a full pallet, a half pallet, or a pallet with missing boxes in it, because you could tell the IO Link data would come out and tell you what beams are blocked and the status of the light curtain. So that's where safety meets Industry 4.0 is with IO-Link data. We have NFC built in. What is NFC? NFC is near field communication. It's similar to Bluetooth with the exception that you have to be extremely close to the light curtain in order to suck the brains out of the light curtain. So you can see things like, and I'll show that, when was your last time the light curtain was tripped? What is your voltage on your light curtain?
Now you're a VP. So.
Oh, somebody's not muted out there. You can mute your phone, please. So that's NFC. Alignment support. These things, I lined one of these light curtains up at 80 feet the other day within a minute because it's got laser alignment technology built in. Dynamic protective fields. That's where the light curtain automatically, once you line your sender and your receiver up, they lock into their into the distance, and then they adjust the power accordingly. So there's some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to show a video in here that goes over this, but I wanted to at least go through, you know, what we're going to show you. Then this video will show each of these things live.
Safety of people, machines, and systems, and more transparent industrial processes. DTEC4 from SICK achieves this reliably. The extended range of functions of the deTec4 safety light curtains increases availability and boosts productivity and cost-effectiveness. You combine the sender and receiver of the deTec4 safety light curtain with a matching system plug. In addition to the basic functions, the SP2 allows you to access further forward-looking functions. You configure the desired function using dip switches, and you save it in the system plug. You don't need a laptop or software. You then simply attach the system plug to the receiver. All basic functions of the SP1 system plug are also included in the SP2 system plug. The two-signal muting function distinguishes between people and material. Thus, your workflow is not interrupted and your system is safe. This is muting reduced to essentials. The reduced resolution function always allows you to insert material into presses without triggering a machine shutdown. DTEC4 reduces the protective field by 1 or 2 variable beams. Even shavings and other small parts can fly through the protective field and don't impede the workflow. But if adjacent beams of a reduced beam are blocked, the machine safely shuts down. The reduced transmitting power function saves space if the distance between the machine is small, as is the case with small presses. The sender of the DTEC4 thus doesn't have any influence on the receiver of an adjacent system. The DTEC4 uses a host guest cascade, the smart presence detection function. It switches the guest light curtain, which is horizontal here, to sleep mode. In dusty applications, for example in industrial wood processing, the horizontal DTEC4 tolerates spinning particles, and the workflow won't be stopped. If the protective field of the vertical DTEC4 is blocked, the horizontal system starts protection, and the machine stops. Persons standing inside are now safely detected by the horizontal DTEC4. Once all protective fields are clear again, the horizontal system switches to sleep mode, and the machine restarts. The variable protective field widths function is the ideal solution if sender and receiver are moving with the machine. DTEC4 provides 3 scanning ranges, short, medium, and high, within which the protective field width may vary. For example, the protective field on the transfer car of a machine for tire production varies during regular operation, and it does so with consistent safety. DTEC4 prime safety light curtains from SICK have a modular structure. The basic functions are always included. For instance, the SP1 system plug provides you with beam coating and cascade. DTEC4 is the right product at the right time. Thanks to the use of data with Industry 4.0 in view, DTEC4 from SICK is a future-proof investment. DTEC4, because we take safety to the next level.
To my presentation. Yeah, so that video was just highlighting some of the features. That was the I/O link. It didn't show the NFC, but we'll do that a little bit later. It was one of the interesting applications was this highlight number 5 that they kind of went over very fast. You see you have a vertical light curtain and a horizontal light curtain. What happens is it's a master slave or a host guest configuration. The guest is asleep. This yellow one goes to sleep and wakes up when somebody infringes the host. That's the basic concept. So that allows for the guest to not get false trips. So it's one of the neat applications or neat features built right into these light curtains. So the days of the dumb light curtain are gone. All this logic is built right into the light curtains now. Some of the nuts and bolts of the DTEC. There are 2 different versions of DTEC. There's DTEC Core and DTEC4. They're both DTEC4. The core just means anytime you see core in our nomenclature, it means that's the most basic light curtain. And then the DTEC4, I'll call it the prime, has got all the advanced features. So you can buy it as just a core light curtain or as I'll call a smart light curtain that has all of the programming built into it. So at the base of the light curtain, things that people like the most about it are the built-in LED on top. Most light curtains don't have that. You can see it 365 degrees, and it's very visible. Gives you red, green, yellow. Muting will be yellow, of course. Infringed is red. And then along the light curtains here, you've got also status LEDs, and those LEDs will be on the sender and the receiver. So these light curtains are super visible. They're like Christmas trees out there. And that's what people like. They can see the status from far away. You don't have to be right up on a light curtain to know, that it's lined up and everything's working properly. You normally get them with 2 cables coming out. The main cable is the longer one. That's the cable that goes back to your cabinet. We use standard cables, which is really nice, M12 5-pin in most cases. And so you can buy just a standard cable, or you can buy cables from us. They're really inexpensive. So the days of the M26 12-pin and the weird cables where you spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on cables, those days are gone. One of the other things, now does it show it on here, is there is NFC built in, which is near field communication. So with your smartphone, you can suck the program and you can suck the status out of the light curtain. But the other big thing is that you have laser alignment built into these things automatically on the advanced light curtain. One of the things that over the years, I've been with SICK for nearly 20 years, people didn't like to have to program their light curtains. So the day of programming the light curtain is gone. Everything that you set up on these is done via the dip switches. So you take a dip switch and you flip it, and that gives you a different function. I'll show this when we go live, but they're just little dip switches that you flip, and that tells the light curtain what configuration you need. So it comes the big thing on this thing is alignment. You've got and to get that alignment, you've got your LED on top, which is nice. That shows as soon as the light curtain gets green. You've got 8 multicolored diagnostic LEDs. Sometimes people don't give them enough credit. The blue LEDs here are invaluable once you know what they're used for. These top ones, 5 and 6, will be the top beam. Is it aligned? 7 and 8 will be the bottom beam. Is it aligned? And then 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be whether your light curtain, the whole alignment, left to right, or your angle is right. So if you have all of the LEDs on, you know that your light curtain is lined up. So that's really nice because you don't have that machine that goes every time it cycles, the light curtain turns off. You know when your light curtain is lined up perfectly. So on this, what we're trying to show here is that this is where light curtain safety meets data. You've got your OSSDs, which are your safe outputs from your light curtain, still the same safe type of outputs that you've always had that go back to a safety relay or a safety controller. But out of the extension connection, I can connect to IO-Link data, get that data up to a computer, and then out to the cloud. So if you need to know, like we talked about earlier, how are your pallet loads coming through? Are they starting to lean forward? Are they starting to lean back? How much productivity have we put out? Are we doing full pallets or half pallets? All that data would come out over your IO-Link. All the light curtains come with NFC built in. NFC is near field communication. I'll try and show that live. But you take your smartphone, which I have here, and you suck you put it by the sender, or actually the receiver, and you draw the program out of it. Not only the program, but all the diagnostics, any faults, any trip offs and things like that are in the NFC app. It's called a Safety Assistant app, which you can download from the Google Play store. All the muting is built into these light curtains, so you don't have to have light curtain go back to a controller. There's no programming that you have to do. That people like a lot. If you program it, you're responsible for it. You use our muting logic, you're not responsible for writing any code. All the code is built in to the light curtains. That's the positive part. The downside is that it's not adjustable. It's set to the ANSI standards and the international and the ANSI standards to the maximum allowable levels of allowable for muting. So you get what you get, but it's very liberal and it's very easy to use. And these are the nodes that you'd have. So on here it says A1, A2. Those are your sensors in. Your little arrow here is your that hooks up to your light curtain on the extension connection. And then if you wanted IO-Link, you would use this node. You could get the IO-Link data out. If I wanted to have like an LED that turns on to say that this thing is muted, I would use this node with the ADO, which is an output that says it's muted. So if you want to go to an additional lamp. So it's pretty cool. All the muting is built right into the light curtain. So from that, we're going to shift to the DTEM family. And the DTEM is a multi-beam, so that's body detection. So here's the nomenclature. D stands for detection technology. M is multi-beam. Once again, you can get it in type 2 or type 4. We always go for type 4 in the United States because that's the category of safety that we always use in the United States. This is a perfect example of where you would use a DTEM4. You can see in this picture, there is 4 beams. It's not hand detection, it is body detection. You've got your columns and your mirrors, and you're just detecting, you're protecting an area, so not a point of operation. The DTEM4 is a sender and a receiver. That's kind of important. And it will have the M12 5 pins, so standard cables again, standard wiring, so it'll be very easy to set up. One of the nice things about it is it'll typically have 90 meters of range. That sometimes you need when you're going from sender to mirror to mirror to receiver. You lose like 10% on each of the mirrors. So that's why it's got such a long range. And it's got a very low and high temperature range as well, and a very good IP rating of IP67, 65 and 67. So you can get these in 2-beam, 3-beam, and 4-beam. So keep in mind that is body detection. So the accessories, because you're going 90 meters, that's a long ways. You could get special, they're not special, but they're all of the light curtains come with you can get with flex fix brackets, which is what I recommend. You can get the AR60 alignment tool on these, which comes in really handy for aligning at 90 meters away. So now what's new, and the DTEM4 has been around. So the next thing that is kind of exciting is the DTEM AP. What does AP stand for? Active Passive. So you look at the DTEM, it's the same body style as the DTEC. It uses the same accessories, the same muting, the same IO link, same everything. The one thing that's different is this innovative passive side, which is called a scepter. The passive means that there are no wires. It's got prism optics, so it's just taking the light from the sender, from the active side, routing it down its tube, and then out the other side, and it's sender receiver. It's basically using the scepter like a reflector. I'll show that in a video here. Right here, I think.
So welcome to the Tech Desk. I'm Russ Nicodem from SICK Incorporated. Today, as we indicated, we're talking about the DTEM4 AP. It's a multi-beam light curtain with active passive technology. This happens to be a 2-beam, so it's got a beam at top and bottom. And this is your passive side. If you look, there are no wires, and this is the prism optics here and here, which reflects the light back to the active side, so that you only have one cable going back to your cabinet. You have a second cable that you can use for things like muting, which is what I have set up now. I have 2 sensor muting set up, basically in exit only mode. So as my product comes through, I get sensor 1, sensor 2, my light curtain goes yellow. Product goes through the light curtain, and the light curtain goes green. All that logic is built in. I like to use these SureSense sensors because they have really good indication that they're lined up perfectly and your application is safe. So that's the basics of the DTEM4 AP. Thank you, and have a good day.
So that explains a little bit of the DTEM AP. So we've got the DTEM. It's hard to say these words. I don't know. The Germans come up with DTEM, and there's DTEM AP, and there's DTEM4 AP. Trust me, you just get the DTEM AP. It's the active passive. You want to use the scepter, which is the high performance reflector, basically. Because it'll get you out to, I believe it's 12 meters, 8 meters maximum, which 8 meters is the longest on the market for lining these up. So 8 meters, that's 24 feet, will cover most areas that you need. There are different, if you don't need that much range, you can get these. You can get them in 2 or 4 beam. You can get them small range or large range. I would normally go with the large range, because why not have the excess gain, and the scepter looks kind of cool out there too. So they come in, there is no 3-beam in these. They come either 2-beam or 4-beam, and they'll be 300 millimeter resolution or 500. The scepter side is I had to actually look up the word scepter, or not scepter, but prism optics. So prism optics means that it's very high precise optics, where your light comes in and it shoots the light down. The prism, or down this little tube, and then it out the other side. I asked my people, why don't they get it to light up? That would be kind of cool, but they're thinking about that. So you can get the DTEM4. So if you've just got or DTEM, so if you've got just a basic application, you don't need anything fancy, you can get a core version, just like you can in the DTEC, or you can get the DTM Active Passive, which would be the prime variant, which is like what I have set up here, where if you need muting and things like that. So we've got the options that you will need for your application. It can do muting. These are just different examples of the muting that the light curtain is set up to do, the same as you can with the DTEC. So we simplified it. You can get it in 2 and 4 beam with and without muting. And that's really it for these types of light curtains. You can have reset. You know, there's a lot of functionality that you can do on these. So muting, reset, IO link. You can get override built in. So there are things that you can do even without a PLC or a safety controller. Some of the muting logic, since a lot of these are used with muting, I like to focus a little bit on this. So these this would be your sender, this is your scepter. You can get the arms so you can mount your muting sensors to the light curtain. So with that, we're at 10:30. I wanted to just go through a couple of live products here, at least according to my clock. I'm a little bit fast. So hopefully you can see my screen, or you can see me and not my screen. So what I have set up here, or I wanted to show you, is let's just go through the light curtains real quick. This is a DTEC4. This is point of operation. You can see that it's 30mm resolution or 14. The nice things about this light curtain, it's inexpensive. It's got the M12 5-pin, just a standard cable built in. If you have just a basic application, you don't need the built-in LED, and you don't need laser alignment, and you don't need anything like that, this is the one you want to go with. It's called DTEC4. So then we upgrade to, this is called the DTEC4 Prime, but they just call it the DTEC4 because it's modular. You can get it with built-in LED. It'll have all the alignment built in. It'll have laser alignment as an option. And it comes with system plugs like this. So you can get a system plug with 2 cables, 1 cable. You can get it with 8-pin or M12 5-pin. So the modularity makes it really nice. So if you bought a light curtain like this and you said, darn it, I needed reset, or I wanted to do muting, but I didn't think about it, just change out the system plug. Or if this cable gets ruined or broken, which is a lot of the cases out there, you just pop this off and you put a new one on and you're back up and running. Or if your light curtain gets damaged and your cabling and everything is fine, you buy just one of these and you take the old system plug and you plug it in. So either case, it's really nice to have the modularity. So this is the DTEC, the Prime. Some of the things I have built in without any programming. I use the extension connection. I can use it for different things. In this case, I'm using it for reset. So you don't have to have a button going back to your PLC to reset your light curtain. You simply connect it to your extension connection. So from there, this is finger detection. You can see, or it's actually hand detection, but so that's hand detection, DTEC4. I've got a laser alignment built in, so this is the laser. My laser is, you should see the laser hitting my hand. So the laser shoots at the little blue lights. When the laser hits the little blue lights, everything goes green. Kind of nice. We can line these things up in minutes. So the next light curtain we have is called, this is the DTEM. This is the active passive. So this is, so keep in mind, this is perimeter guard. So it's a two beam, and this is your scepter optics. So this is the passive side, no wires. It's just taking light in, shooting it up and out. So it's coming in here and then bouncing back. What I have set up for this was I have the two sensor muting. So as my product, comes in, say I'm exiting a cell, it'll go out the light curtain, and then it goes green again. And unless I actually activate the sensors, the muting doesn't start. One other quick thing, so I don't have much time, I wanted to show you is that because we have these cables, so what I have set up way in the back corner there is what I call single sensor muting. We all have talked about 2 sensor muting, 4 sensor muting, and whatnot. So what we have, I have a sensor right here. It's the basic sensor. And I like these sensors because they light up really nice. So I have a sensor. Show me that. Sorry about that. And I have a switch. So when I trigger the single sensor, my product can go through the light curtain and go green. I'm using a switch to act like a PLC signal or a process signal, and allow for single sensor muting. The extension connections, an M12 5-pin, I plug the sensor directly into the light curtain. I'm not sending it back to a controller, anything. And then the signal from your PLC, which you have to obviously know, that signal has to be evaluated to make sure that it's what you want. You'd send a signal saying, hey, I just sent a pallet and it should be about to the light curtain. Turn on my muting signal, and to the light curtain would take that input. And then the pallet comes out and says, yep, the sensor sees the pallet when it should, and then allows for the exiting. So it's kind of a neat concept. It's the only light curtain on the market that you can bring the sensor directly into the light curtain. It does the power and the signal, and the sensors actually says muting on the side. I had it made specifically for that type of application. So just wanted to show you something new, a couple new things. New DTEM4 Active Passive, that's kind of cool technology. Single sensor muting, having muting built into the light curtains, not needing a safety controller, all are things that can save you time and money in the end. So with that, we'll open it up.
Yep, if anybody, thanks Russ, but yeah, if anybody has any questions or wants to make a comment or whatever, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in whenever. A couple of things I wanted to point out is you see all the different variants, and Russ talked about the NFC and showed the SOPUS software. So for those of you who aren't familiar with SICK, SOPUS is their they call it SICK Open Portal Application Software, and it's not just for safety. It's not it's not actually for most safety devices. It's for some vision systems, barcode scanners, measurement sensors, things like that. It's a free software. You can download it right off of SICK's website, and there's a couple of, there's a couple different versions. You can get a mobile version as well to have it act on your phone like Russ showed. The other thing is that maybe you couldn't see specifically in the back. So you see the green light on these light curtains. It can go green, red, telling you whether the safety outputs are on or off. In the back, when he did the 1 sensor muting, when it goes to muting, it actually turns yellow. So you have that 3-color LED, and it can tell the status. So that's one of the so that light curtain is actually yellow in the back there. It's kind of hard to see. It looks maybe like it might be red, but yeah, so it's actually one of the requirements for muting is to let people know that the light curtain is currently being muted. So that's what that is showing you there. And a couple other things is, obviously you see he held the light curtain in his hand. I think all of us have seen the big extruded aluminum bodies of light curtains that are maybe multiple inches square. You know, these are relatively small. They hold up very well. I mean, there's actually a video on SICK's website of somebody driving over it with a car and then lighting it back up. So they're definitely not sacrificing any robustness with the small size. And the last thing is, definitely reach out to us, let us know. But there's not necessarily promotions, but SICK has these DTEC4 kits. So you don't need to know which cables, which brackets, which system plugs to get. You can order as a kit, and all you really need to know is what your application is. So if your application is just strictly on off, no special reset, EDM, anything like that, we can go with the core version. If you're going to potentially do muting or EDM or the not blanking, but reduced resolution, we can go with a separate kit. And with that kit, you end up getting the light curtain, the system plug, brackets, and even cables. So what we've found, and we've definitely promoted it to a lot of our different customers out here, is that we can save sometimes up to 20% with these kits. So it's a good way to kind of get everything you need and save a little bit of money. So
one thing I promised Sydney that I would show is, well, you probably can't see it very good. So there's the NFC app, which is an app on my phone. It doesn't look like you can see it very good. It gives me my voltage, so I can actually go to my light curtain and tell me my voltage of my system. So if you're doing PM checks on your light curtains, or somebody says, hey, hey Russ, this light curtain keeps switching off, I can go to status of beams, and it'll tell me the status of every beam. And somebody will say, ah man, that thing was shutting off at 2 o'clock every morning. I can actually go to a turn-off analysis. I can see that I infringed this light curtain at today's date, or 6/2 at 9:49.59. At 9:49 this morning, it turned off. At 9:49.45, I turned it off. At 9:49.43, so I was obviously doing this. And so you can actually go to your light curtain and say, okay, what's going on? The last 10 shutoffs were at 2:15 a.m. Why? Because it's time, date, stamp. So it's pretty cool, all built in right into the light curtain. And we do that just by bringing the cell phone very close to the NFC signal, and it sucks all that data out of the light curtain. It's pretty slick, especially if you're having some issue or you want to find out what's going on, or it simply is my voltage too low? Has it dropped down and now we're getting faults? It'll tell you that.